Welcome to the Unfuck Your Fitness podcast. I am your host, Christy Castillo, and I'm here to give you real talk and cut the BS so you can actually enjoy building a body you love. I'm a personal trainer obsessed with giving you simple action steps to take you from feeling stuck to feeling sexy. Let's go. Hey guys, what's up? Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. Today, we are going to be talking about the fact that fitness is lifelong. I know that can sound a little like duh, but I think oftentimes we forget this, or maybe we don't want to think about it like that because we're after those quick results. I know that this used to be me, but in last week's episode, I talked about 7 things that I learned in my 40th year of life. And one of the biggest takeaways for me last year was that my mental, my emotional, and my physical state are so closely tied together. And that was a huge thing for me to realize that I was neglecting one, if not two of those things most of the time. And so that's why my fitness was off. The reason that I was neglecting them is because I wasn't looking at this as long-term. I used to just look at things as maybe even I wanted the quick results. I'm not really exactly sure, but I was definitely not looking at it as a whole, as definitely I need to do all 3 lifelong and all 3 of them matter. And so today, adopting the mentality, changing your mentality around the fact that fitness is a lifelong thing will help you to be able to look at this in a different way. You'll no longer have to, suffer and do these flashy quick fix things and feel like a failure. And it will become less stressful, more, dare I say, fun for you and enjoyable. And it might as well be, right? If this is going to be lifelong. So if you are a person who wants to be healthy and fit for the rest of your life, you will have to make fitness a priority for the rest of your life. I know that sounds really obvious, but that can still be really hard for some people to hear. And if it's hard for you to hear that, this was me, it's because you're trying to do things to be healthy and fit that are not sustainable long-term, right? If you were doing something right now, like I'm doing, basically, the things that I'm doing right now, I can do them for the rest of my life. Absolutely. So for me to hear that would be like, okay, cool, I can handle that. But I've spent a long time getting to where I'm at now. I've spent a long time doing the things that would not have been sustainable for me long-term, which is why I no longer do them. So if this is you and you're hearing this, like, there is no way I can do what I'm doing right now long-term, it's because you're doing things that you should not be doing. So like, for me, this looked like, well, have you ever started a workout program and thought, am I going to have to do this forever? Because that was the way that Insanity made me feel, the Beachbody program Insanity. And you may love this program. I'm just giving you my experience. My husband and I started out doing the P90X program from Beachbody, and I actually loved it. It was a really good mix. It was a 90-day program. It was a really good mix of weightlifting workouts and HIIT workouts. It was 7 days a week if you did the stretch day. So that was a little much. Couldn't really ever keep up with that, honestly. But the workouts I absolutely loved. And then after that, we went to doing the Insanity program. I don't remember exactly how many weeks that was, but it's all freaking cardio. And I remember thinking, there is no way. I mean, I did it for a long time because I thought it was going to give me the body that I wanted. And I thought I needed to sweat and jump around. But there is absolutely no way I'm going to be able to do that for the rest of my life. So most of the time when we start a workout program, we're just thinking we need to do this for a quick 30-day challenge or 6 to 12 weeks. We're not really thinking about what's coming next, right? A few other things that I did that made me feel like, am I going to have to do this forever, was eating out of containers. That also came with some of the Beachbody programs. I did learn, portion sizes, and I learned what proteins, fats, and carbs were. I learned different things, but eating out of containers, honestly, I didn't even want to do that for a week, let alone the rest of my life. That was going to be a hard pass for me. I could not make that happen. One time we had watched a documentary about how meat was bad for you and you should not eat meat, which, okay, some people can do that and that's totally fine. Again, this is just my experience. So I think for about a week, we didn't eat meat. We tried tofu and Yeah, that didn't go well. We tried some meatless dishes, and there's nothing wrong with that, of course. Was it for me? Absolutely not. Could I go like meatless Mondays or something like that? Sure. To cut down if you wanted to, absolutely. For me, that was something that I absolutely was not going to do for the rest of my life. Eating from only a list of certain foods. I have done programs in the past where you just get a certain list of foods and that's like all you can eat from. You can mix and match, of course, and make your meals, but there's no way I'm going to stick to this list of certain foods for the rest of my life because I am pretty sure Oreos were not on that list. And so that's going to be a no for me, which leads me to my last thing that I tried. Well, I probably tried more, but in these examples, cutting out all of my favorite foods. I tried to I didn't say I'm cutting out all of my favorite foods, but I cut out bread. I cut out Oreos. I cut out cereal, right? They were my favorite foods. Ice cream. I thought that was bad. So doing all of those things, those were things for me. And I'm sure that you have a list of things for you that either you're doing now or you've done in the past. And you thought, yeah, there is absolutely no way. Could I do this for 30 days for a challenge? I don't know why you would cut out bread for 30 days for a challenge unless you're winning $1 million, but you do you. But I've done things like that before and thought, yeah, no, absolutely not. And so that was something that I had to think about was like, what you do to get the results you want is something that you'll need to do forever. Because if you think you have to cut out bread, cut out Oreos, not eat any meat, eat out of containers, do these workouts that you can hardly keep up with, if you think those are the things, like if you do those things and you lose weight and you start to see results, you're going to think that that's the only way to get the results that you want. And then when you can't keep up with those things because they're not sustainable, you're going to think that you failed. And so either way, you lose because you're either doing these things, suffering, knowing that you can't do them forever, or let's say you do them forever, but it still sucks. You still don't want to be doing those things. So either way, you lose in that scenario. And that's why I don't encourage you to do those things that are going to be the quick fix results because you can't keep them up and they're just not sustainable. And so the way that you start to change that narrative is accepting the fact that fitness will be a part of your life forever. The sooner you can escape the need for quick results to lose, 10 pounds in a month, or even just to lose a certain amount of pounds a month, as soon as you can escape the need for quick results and for controlling everything, you'll start trusting the long-term process. And once you realize that, like, I'm going to have to do this forever, like I want to do this forever. I want to find a program or something, that I can do forever, long-term, to not only get the results that I want, but to keep them. That's when it becomes a little bit different for you. And you start to realize that you can do things a little slowly, a little more simply, a little more habitual, and they don't have to be so rigid. And so the way that you do that is to focus on the things that matter. And this is what I teach my ladies in my programs. And so before I get into what actually works and to talk about the fact that it's still hard, even though that it does work, I want to mention that when you start something new, and if all you know is eating out of containers and doing programs that are really hard and cutting out carbs and, all of these quick fix things, if that's all that you know and that's all you've learned for 20, 30 years of your life, it's going to take time to rewrite the narrative and to figure out that there is something different because you're really, really comfortable on, falling back on those things. And so it's really hard at first, but even though we know better and even though we hate it, it's more comfortable to go back to, the old way that we've already tried those things. But I think also realizing that it is still going to be really hard to learn how to do this long term, but it is the better way. So that's something that I cover with my clients when they first sign up with me. I have to make sure that they know I am not the kind of coach, I am not the personal trainer that's going to give you really low macros and really low or really hard workouts and, have you crush some goals instantly. Am I all about that? Absolutely. But I'm more about teaching you the things that matter, which are hitting your macros, AKA fueling your body, getting in the right kind of workouts, 4 to 5 workouts a week that include weightlifting or some sort of HIIT, to get your body in the right place, to get your metabolism and your hormones regulated, drinking enough water and doing that consistently. Those are the things that matter across the board. And that can sound really foreign to someone who has no idea what that means. It's just like anything else that you start brand new. It is foreign. So like when you start a new job, you have no idea what you're doing, but you show up anyway, you learn, you give yourself a little grace, you take some notes, you keep showing up, and it's just like that. You are learning something new. You have someone in your corner, hopefully, to help you along the way. And then you realize that these things are simple and they do work. Maybe not as quickly as you would like, but you also have in the back of your head that this is long term. So it doesn't need to work all in a month. I don't need this to work just in 6 weeks or even 12 weeks. This is lifelong. So yes, you want to see results in those time periods, but you want to understand that this is a lifelong process. So it's not because there's less effort necessarily. It's not less effort to track your macros and to get in some workouts and, drink enough water every day. It's not that it's less work to do that than to cut carbs. It's different. But once you start to do this, see that it works long term, you're going to be more comfortable with doing this job, if we want to put it in that kind of category. So the more you do this, I just want to make that clear that it's not necessarily that it's easier. It's just that they are things that you're going to be doing naturally. You're still going to be eating the foods that you want. You are going to be doing workouts that you enjoy, and that makes the process so much easier. I realize that this is not the sexiest answer. If, I have a client come to me and she'll say, how soon can I lose 10 pounds? My goal is to lose 10 pounds in this 6-week program and, tone up and have energy and learn how to eat. We have all the right goals associated with it, but I have to come back and say, I know this isn't probably exactly what you want to hear, but we are not going to focus on losing the 10 pounds and having more energy and those types of goals. What we're going to focus on is teaching you how to fuel your body, teaching you the workouts that you can do long-term, what they look like, why we're doing them, why they make sense, why you will hit your goals with them, get those habits in place. And then, yes, at the end of the 6-week or 12-week program, whichever you are doing with me, you will know how to do this long-term, and you will see the results and you'll know that it's working. But we're not going to focus on the material, the physical things. We're going to focus on the mindset and getting you out of this quick fix mentality and get you into it being more of a long-term lifestyle. And so that's really my goal for myself. That's my goal for my clients. That's my goal for you, is to start looking at this as more of a long-term lifestyle, because fitness is lifelong, health and fitness. Now, this is also really nice because I do have a lot of clients and I see a lot of people that are, just want to drop weight for a wedding or drop weight for a vacation or, different things. They want to look good in a certain outfit and they feel like they have to, do all these drastic things to diet down and to look a certain way and to lose a few pounds or a lot of pounds for a certain event. And so once you start looking at this as fitness is a long-term thing, situation, journey, you'll get the results that you want and keep them, which means you don't ever have to lose weight for a wedding. You don't ever have to lose weight for a summer vacation. It has been years since I personally have even changed my macros or really changed up my workouts. I've been doing the same thing, very, very, not the exact same workouts. I don't want it to sound boring. I do change them up, of course, but the same style because I know what works for me. I have not had to diet down or lose weight, or even if I go on vacation, you go on a cruise, right? And all you do is eat the whole time and you gain 5 to 10 pounds. I come home from that. I know that once I get right back on track of my fitness lifestyle, because it's lifelong, I know that weight's just going to come right back off and I'll get right back to where I wanted. Another benefit of making this mentality of this is a lifelong journey, it really helps you to be able to get in the best shape of your life, stay in the best shape of your life, and you no longer have to, diet down for things. But if you did want to, let yourself go, quote unquote. And I don't mean that in a bad way, for a little while, or if life gets busy and you do put on, some weight, or you do stop working out for a while, it doesn't matter, because you know exactly how to get back on track. And you know that this is a lifelong thing, that you don't have to be in tip-top shape all the time. You're not looking to diet all the time and suffer through your workouts. So that's another way too, that if you do have some life circumstances that come up and you do get off track, you know how to get right back on track. So there are a lot of benefits to looking at this journey, this fitness journey, as lifelong, more than just not having to suffer cutting carbs and, doing crappy workouts. There are actual benefits to being able to just look at this as a lifelong journey and get on track, stay on track, get back on track more simply. It puts you in control. And it cuts out the need for stressing about things so long. I also want to talk lastly about the fact that sometimes when I have clients and I will tell them yes, this is a lifelong thing, you will have to focus on your fitness. Your fitness will have to be a priority for the rest of their life. It does scare them at first, and that's only because they don't really understand what's going on. But I want to make it very clear that what I do and what I teach my ladies right now, it's not stressful. Is my health and fitness a priority? Absolutely. But all that really means is that I move my body 4 to 5 times a week. I get out in my garage and my gym and I get a workout in. So as long as you're getting a workout in 4 to 5 times a week for 45 minutes each, and you hit your macros, and that means, eating, not restricting any foods, which is hitting those numbers. That's what it means to make yourself a priority and to make your fitness a priority. It doesn't mean that you're stressing about your food all day long and doing these really hard workouts. When you make it a priority for life, it just becomes habitual. And when you're focusing on the right things, it just becomes second nature in your life. I don't even think about really what I'm going to eat anymore. I have my staple foods. I, eat similar things daily. I know exactly how to hit my numbers. And I know what workouts I'm going to do. I'm following a plan. I drink my water. I do that consistently. If I mess up, it's fine. I have the rest of my life. So one day off is not going to kill me this week. And so I want to just make that clear too, that fitness being a priority for the rest of your life is not a hard thing. It's not a bad thing. It's not an obsessive thing. It's a really, really good thing. And it can be really, really simple, and it puts you in control, and it will give you the confidence to go about this forever. Think about that. If fitness is going to be a priority for the rest of your life, that means you're going to be confident for the rest of your life. You're going to love the way that you look and love the way that you feel, and you're going to be in control for the rest of your life, not just for a 30-day challenge or for a 6-week program. So if at the beginning of this, when I was talking about it and it sounded really scary, that what you're doing right now to get the results that you want, you're going to have to do those things forever. If that was oh God, I do not want to do the things that I'm doing right now forever. Good. That's a good wake-up call. And there is an easier and better way. And this is how I coach my ladies. And if you are ever interested in getting some information on my programs, you can always reach out to me. You can find me at Christy Castillo Fit on Instagram, or you can go to my website, christycastillo.com, and look at some program options. I'm more than happy, though, to actually talk to you and get to know you and your goals and to steer you in the right direction. I'm always here to help, and helping you gain knowledge is my most important, or is my number one goal, I guess, in all of this. Yes, you're going to see the results that you want, but I also want you to understand how you got them, not just to get them and then lose them after you stop working with me. So I hope that you enjoyed this episode. I think this is just a really big passion of mine, is just looking at fitness in a different way. This is something I struggled with early on. And I know a lot of you could be here as well, thinking, how am I going to do this forever? What does this look like if I'm going to do this forever? How do I get out of this cycle? How do I make this simple? I remember looking at people kind of like myself now and thinking, how are they doing that so simply? It's like she's not even stressing about what she's eating. How is she doing that? And now I know, and that's what I teach my ladies. So I hope that you learned a lot. I hope this was helpful. Please share me with your friends. Take a screenshot of what you're seeing on your screen right now of the podcast and share it on social media and tag me. I would love to hear from you, and I will talk to you next week. Thanks for listening to today's show. Go ahead and leave a rating and a review. And of course, follow the podcast so you don't miss out on any future episodes. And I would love it so much if you came to connect with me over on Instagram at Christy Castillo Fit. I will see you next time.